In the quiet, sophisticated world of Port Charles, a storm is brewing, one that threatens to unravel the delicate balance of power, secrets, and loyalties among its most influential figures. The intertwined lives of its residents seem to be heading toward chaos, and the shadows of betrayal, manipulation, and blackmail are more pervasive than ever. The setting shifts to Australia, where Jack Brennan, a man who thrives in the shadows of Port Charles's murky underworld, has recently promoted Vaughn to the role of second-in-command. Vaughn, a figure well acquainted with the complexities of this town, has earned Jack's trust, but Jack's trust is a currency that is hard to come by. It's clear that Jack's choice is born out of necessity, for he needs Vaughn as a right-hand man who understands the intricacies of Port Charles's political machinations. Still, the man is not without his flaws, chief among them being his involvement in a clandestine romance with Jocelyn Jacks, a love affair that Jack neither condones nor respects. Caught between the weight of his professional obligations and the sting of personal betrayal, Jack is both furious and resolute. He allows Vaughn and Jocelyn the illusion of time, 24 hours spent together in a secluded cabin, tucked away from prying eyes, but he makes it clear that this indulgence will never be repeated. For Jack, control is paramount, and he has no patience for the entanglements that distract from his true mission, to turn Jocelyn into an asset, a player in the dangerous game that he orchestrates. Jocelyn may believe that her WSB status remains a secret to those closest to her, but Jack has his suspicions about Jason Morgan, the ever-loyal enigma who might have already shared the truth with Carly Spencer. If that were to happen, Jocelyn's carefully crafted narrative would crumble. Meanwhile, in Port Charles, Drew Kane, still grappling with the aftermath of his involvement in a clandestine financial transaction, seeks counsel from Martin Gray. It's a delicate situation, as Drew needs to resolve legal matters concerning his aunt, Stella Henry, and ensure her return to the hospital. But things are never so simple. Drew's situation is fraught with the weight of deceit, and he needs Martin's help to stave off a potentially disastrous investigation into his activities. The safe containing evidence that could sink him is already under scrutiny by the PCPD, and Drew, ever the strategist, cannot afford to let the police get their hands on it. His request is clear: a restraining order to prevent the police from further probing his past. In the midst of this tangled web, Anna Devane, the unflappable former spy, is busy piecing together the investigation that threatens to engulf Drew and the men around him. A conversation with Harrison Chase brings startling revelations. Evidence found in Drew's safe implicates Judge Eva in a bribe scandal that involves a Swiss bank transfer. Justine Turner, the Ada with an eye for the truth, is immediately suspicious of this new evidence, particularly the connection between Drew and the judge. For her, the pieces don't add up. Why would Drew bribe the judge for Michael Corinthos' victory? It doesn't make sense, and Justine is determined to uncover the full extent of Drew's involvement. As Anna and Chase dig deeper, tensions rise, and the stakes grow higher. Drew's role in the bribery scheme becomes a central point of focus, particularly when Justine confronts him with the wire transfer evidence. Drew, ever the master of deception, feigns ignorance, but his demeanor betrays him. The truth is becoming harder to hide, and Drew's carefully constructed empire is teetering on the edge of collapse. Meanwhile, Anna advises Chase to keep the evidence under wraps, fearing that if the full scope of Drew's actions is revealed, the ramifications could be catastrophic, not just for Drew, but for everyone involved. The shadow of sunny Corinthos and Brick hangs over them, adding further complexity to the tangled web they are weaving. Back at the heart of Port Charles, the emotional drama intensifies. Liesl Albrecht, the formidable matriarch, is at odds with her daughter, Britt Westbourne, whose return to Port Charles has stirred up more than just family tensions. Liesl is consumed by anger, not only for Britt's actions in faking her death but also for the emotional toll it has taken on her. The mother-daughter dynamic is fraught with betrayal, as Britt insists that she has no obligation to her mother, blaming Liesl for shaping her into the person she is today. Liesl's bitterness is palpable, but beneath her anger, there lies a deep, unspoken love, a love that Britt refuses to acknowledge. Yet despite their estrangement, Liesl's protective instincts kick in when Nina Reeves, Britt's stepmother, begins to show an unsettling degree of sympathy for Britt's plight. Nina, determined to help Britt, presses Liesl to admit that she still cares for her daughter, despite everything that has happened. Liesl, in a moment of vulnerability, confesses that she will always love Britt, but she will never forgive her. The rift between them remains wide, and no amount of persuasion will bridge the gap. Britt, meanwhile, is caught between her mother's anger and Nina's unconditional support. She has no choice but to navigate the storm of emotions surrounding her, even as she battles her own personal demons. In a darker corner of Port Charles, Marco Rios finds himself at the crossroads of betrayal and survival. On the docks, a tense confrontation takes place between Marco and Jens Sidwell, a man whose loyalty is as questionable as his motives. Sidwell, it turns out, has played a dangerous game of his own, manipulating those around him to ensure his own survival. When Marco questions him about the murder of Judge Heron, Sidwell responds with a cold, calculated indifference. The judge, he insists, was a loose end that needed to be dealt with. But Marco's suspicion lingers, and he is not one to be easily deceived. The deeper he digs, the more dangerous the situation becomes, and he realizes that Sidwell may not be the only one with blood on his hands. As the tension between them escalates, Sidwell reveals that Marco's involvement in representing Michael Corinthos, whose alibi is growing more suspect by the day, could be the key to unraveling everything. The webs of blackmail, betrayal, and murder are closing in, and Marco must decide whether to continue down this treacherous path or find a way out before it's too late. In Sonny's office, Jason Morgan delivers the latest developments in the Britt Westbourne saga, including the unexpected news that she has been found alive. Jason's demeanor is stoic, as always, but Carly Spencer's frustration is evident. She has been kept in the dark about too much for too long, and now, with Britt's return and the secrets surrounding the 5 Poppies incident, Carly is questioning everything. She knows that there is more to the story than she has been told, and she is not happy about being excluded from the truth. In the midst of the chaos, one thing is clear: the players of Port Charles are all connected by their dark secrets, their ambitions, and their betrayals. With each passing day, the stakes rise higher, and the tension in this town becomes unbearable. From Jack Brennan's calculated power plays to Drew Kane's desperate attempts to cover his tracks, the drama unfolding in Port Charles is far from over. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is certain: no one is safe, and no secret is immune to exposure.